So in the last time we saw Resident Evil Requiem, we had like little flashbacks here and there of Eliza. Well, this time we got a little bit of a further depth flashback, I guess, of that event, of how she was kind of like turning back to us almost, because obviously things go down and we didn't realize how bad. And man, I can't lie, Resident Evil Requiem looks like it's going to be a very, very emotional game, because I kind of got that from the first trailer, but I couldn't really make that direct comparison or connection, I should say, with it. But with this cutscene alone, and this, I guess, sequence, I should say, not cutscene, because you did get a little bit of gameplay. I wouldn't say a lot, but it was a quick, I guess, a little bit, a couple minutes of gameplay, or I say seconds of gameplay. But again, it was really good. I'm surprised what they're going for, and can I just say that the transition, the way you go from cutscene to gameplay is absolute flawless, honestly, with this, because most games obviously they have this like jarring moment where they'll go from a beautiful cinematic or something and then it's straight into gameplay and it looks kind of crusty or whatever. Yeah, it doesn't seem the case with Resident Evil Requiem. It looks the way the cutscene looks, if that makes sense. Like, it just looks really good. And I am impressed by the model of Eliza Ashcroft, like a major glow up for sure, because I was not expecting something of the likes of a glow up for a character that's not even well known, by the way. It's just very obscure if you think about it, because Resident Evil Outbreak is not really mentioned enough or shown enough, or they haven't really gotten a re-release or anything like that with File 1 or File 2. So the fact that they actually went out of their way to really give Eliza Ashcroft a really good refreshed model in the RE engine is absolutely amazing. But yeah, so obviously what takes place in this cutscene is obviously Eliza getting back from probably work and stuff, and having a little bit of interactions with Grace. Their connection seems, I would say still very strong, but it does feel like, Eliza has to deal with that. I don't know how old Grace is, but like, I don't want to say like she just seems like a teenager still. Like, I know she's probably an adult and probably like, still maybe might be in her 20s. I'm not even sure, but it's just how she interacted was very, very natural in the way certain conversations would go, which was a plus. I mean, you can't say they didn't got that on point. They actually got that really on point. But yeah, again, their little interactions was very funny as well, especially how the phone was ringing and obviously how she would say, or Eliza would say to Ash, "Why don't you pick up the phone?" And she's just like, but the point still stands. You're the closest one to it. It's a little funny moment like that, which I do like. I felt like that's really good. Another thing I would like to also talk about is the way, I guess, the animations are for the most part. I feel like they're very good. There was one part where I would say there was an issue, and that's more close to the end, but we'll get to that. See, the lights go off because of a weird strange call just saying I think, what is it, Eliza Ashcroft is that, or Ashcroft or something like that, and then the call ends and it's a blackout, which is very mysterious, of course, very creepy, very intentional. You can tell, like, it just doesn't seem right. Obviously, in a sense, I don't want to say that Eliza panicked just to protect Grace, but definitely packed up things and mentioned a few things that sounds like she knows what's going on, and obviously takes Ash with her. Takes Grace Ashcroft, sorry. I don't know why sometimes I keep saying, like, calling her Ash. Dude, I barely have, like, enough sleep for this. I just kind of hit the record button and, just see how I'll go. But yeah, she just kind of takes Grace with her, and obviously, navigate through the dark, which I can't say, the way it says, like, to obviously follow mom, and obviously just the way the little is, it's obviously taking place in first person, but I was hoping maybe they'll try and show it in third person, but I get it. To be honest, this scene does work mainly in first person than it does third, but I am kind of worried because obviously that's where they're marketing this whole gameplay structure is mainly in first person and third person, but we'll have to see. I guess they'll probably have like a little thing where they can see how much people use third person or first person. But yes, navigating through the dark, going down the stairs eerily into the darkness still, to only to hear a random creak and a voice, which I will say that was both very heightened and in a sense like on, or both of them I would say were on edge, especially the mother to try to defend Grace, not knowing it's basically the, I guess, electrician man, just, you know, doing its job and kind of lacking to mention that, you know, he was doing this and that. So it's all fine, right? Until you see a random bag over his head and then freaking, can I say this? Strangling him and then killing him off. We've seen in the trailer briefly beforehand. He has this kind of like infected look, I guess. All we know, or all we've seen, is basically a hooded figure with this, you know, his mouth and his chin and all that stuff. But other than that, we don't know who this guy is, and honestly, I don't understand how people think this is Leon. I think I mentioned something like that in my last video, but like, dude, this can't really be Leon, though I could get the understanding of why, because of the way the person killed the victim. It was very, you know, how he does in RE4, you know, whenever he sneaks up to an enemy, cuts them, and then calls it a day. Like, it's very swift, very, very swift. But I don't think it's Leon, because I don't think they'll do our boy like that, but I could be wrong. This might just be a natural enemy in the game, which is probably going to be a very frightening one, because I'll be honest, it's not looking great for Grace, because that was not meant to go together. But it's definitely not looking great for Grace because, again, like I said, she is the most vulnerable RE character, so I don't know how things are going to go down. But after all of that, obviously I don't know how they got away from the figure, the creepy guy, but they did. And obviously, for once, it's very rare you see a character actually panic quite well, like quite realistically, but Grace actually goes for a whole panic state. Like, it's actually really amazing. It sounds weird to say, but I can't believe how on point they got it, and it looks really natural too. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, it's just so fake, get on with it. But no, it actually makes sense. Like, everything they're doing is just, they're doing right. Like, they're taking off so much boxes that I'm really impressed by. But again, it's just absolutely stunning. Again, obviously, the mother tries to obviously kind of calm Grace down, trying to, you know, get her back to her senses, you know, which is a hard thing. And she then kind of hits Grace with saying that she kind of has to like go in a sense, but she doesn't make it super obvious. But you know, when someone wants to play hero and they kind of sacrifice themselves. Obviously, I'm not saying that she wants to, she just generally wants to protect Grace from anything that's coming her way, which I understand every mother would do this, so it makes it more understanding of what she's trying to do. But it literally ends with her just kind of walking off because Grace kind of realized, oh, my laptop, which in a moment like this, why would you care about your laptop? I don't know, maybe there's really important details and stuff like that on it, so you may want to get that. And as she turns around, well, I guess he came for round 2, this time for the mother, for Eliza Ashcroft, this hooded figure. And that's basically how it ends. Very short, very sweet, and very deadly. Can't lie, I'm pretty impressed by, again, the cutscenes, the direction, story-wise. It's going for a very interesting take for Resident Evil, and it feels like it's just taking off. Like, this feels like a true next Resident Evil game. Obviously, I'm not going to bash Resident Evil Village. I know that's some people's favorite game and stuff like that, but this feels like a true RE8, if anything. And then obviously Resident Evil Village, again, it's just the scare factor was not there with Village in a sense, because it just felt way too action and just the character shut up, or the character wouldn't shut up a lot of the times, except for obviously the one time, which was when Ethan was in Donna Benny, oh, you know, basically in that dollhouse. I'm even going to try to butcher her name because I literally knew how to say her name, but now for some weird reason I can't. But yeah, you know, it's not like I have an issue with RE8. I really don't. I like all Resident Evil games. I mean, some I do love more than others, but that's just how it is. But again, what I'm seeing is really impressive. I do want to see more gameplay, but hopefully we'll get, you know, footage of that when people play it at Gamescom and stuff like that. We'll be also talking about other videos and stuff like that when it comes to Gamescom, or maybe shorts, things I find interesting or things that I just want to share. It may be shorts because you guys probably won't really bother with it too tough, so I'll just make them as shorts. But without further ado, I'll probably see you all next time with my next horror video, which is probably going to be talking a little bit more about Silent Hill F, or maybe a short, I'm not sure. But peace out guys, I hope you obviously did like this video, and if you haven't then why not. And not only that, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, that way you get my videos first of anything new coming away. This is The Void signing out, hope you have a lovely day.